everyone, and welcome. My name is Chris Shelton, coming to you from a beautiful day in Los Angeles, California, the heart of Hollywood, with your DIY Home Remedies guide to health, happiness, and healing transformation. Today, what I thought I'd talk about is the thing that nobody wants to talk about, and that's that little itch. What did I mean by that? We're talking about hemorrhoids. Oh my God, the big H. Yes, hemorrhoids. Hemorrhoids affect so many people, and not only do we see it with women that are giving birth because of the bearing down, but also we see it with children, we see it with adults, so it really does not discriminate really against age. What is the root cause of the tissues coming out like that? Well, the root cause is your spleen and your kidney yang not functioning properly. So what is kidney yang? So kidney yang and kidney yin are the root of yin and yang of the entire body. So for example, if there's a deficiency or weakness with kidney yang, then at some level there'll be a weakness with spleen yang, heart yang, lung yang, liver yang, etc. So, and the same thing goes with kidney yin. If there's a deficiency of kidney yin, guess what? Chances are there'll be also a deficiency in liver yin, heart yin, lung yin, and spleen yin, etc. Okay, so that's one of the main culprits is when yang. So what is yang? So yang is the motive force which moves fluids or allows for the body to assimilate food and digest and to transform food into blood, etc., to secrete and excrete. You need heat in order to create those kinds of changes inside the body. So when there's a deficiency of that, then guess what happens? Then things tend to fall out of place because now there's not enough of this movement going on. So in this case here, then what's going on is then it affects the spleen. Now spleen yang is then affected because of the kidney yang being deficient. So when spleen yang is affected, we have a spleen yang or spleen qi deficiency. One of the things that the spleen is supposed to do is it's supposed to hold these internal organs in place. And a lot of people think that, well, because I have this body that God just put in the internal organs, and those internal organs just sit there because they're supposed to just sit there. But no. So when we have a hemorrhoid, it's actually like a form of a prolapse. And if you don't know what a prolapse is when an organ actually falls out or falls out of place. And also, so check out our prolapse video. We did do a discussion about prolapses. So if you're somebody who had a prolapse of the uterus, prolapse of the bladder, for example, then check out that. But also, too, when we have a hemorrhoid, then what we're looking at is that we're looking at these tissues actually falling out. And so the spleen is one of the main culprits. One of the other culprits, once again, too, is kidney yang being too deficient. So what can we do in order to preserve kidney yin and kidney yang? Well, the number one thing that we could do is we could get enough sleep, making sure that we're getting adequate amounts of sleep. The other thing that we could do too is to avoid cold and raw food. Cold and raw food, if you do have any type of prolapse or if you do have a hemorrhoid, is going to injure the yang more and cause and further aggravate the hemorrhoid. So we want to avoid cold and raw food. Okay, so when we put the cold in like that, it actually, what it does is it extinguishes the fire of the stomach. So we don't want that to happen. We want all the food that come into the stomach to be warm. We want to make sure that our vegetables are lightly blanched. These types of things help to warm the system, keep the system warm, and also will indirectly help avoid you from getting a hemorrhoid, but also too, if you already do have hemorrhoids, then it can actually help to return the tissues back to where they belong. Now, I know people that even have had to have surgeries to fix the hemorrhoids, and they say, oh, well, this will get rid of the hemorrhoids, and guess what? 6 months later, those hemorrhoids are back again. So you have to fix the root cause of the dysfunction in order for the hemorrhoids to keep coming back. Well, what's the other thing that we have to watch out too? The other thing we have to watch out for is constipation. All right, so making sure that our diet is clean, we're not eating greasy, fatty, fried foods, we're not stressed while we're eating, we're not watching violent movies or those types of things while eating. Those kinds of things will actually create constipation. And if there's a kidney yin deficiency in the body, there could create a yin deficiency of the lungs, and the lungs control and work with the large intestine and the colon. And guess what? That could be a contributing factor to constipation. But also, too, if you're somebody that holds on to things, you're too controlling, you got too much of this angst inside, too much of this anger inside, then that affects the liver. That could also create constipation. So we want to avoid constipation because when we have to bear down like that, this could also further exacerbate hemorrhoids and actually create a hemorrhoid if you didn't have one in the first place. So really looking at our diet, making sure we're having enough fiber in our diet. That's something that's not talked about here in the West. in the East, in China, constipation, wasn't really a thing. I don't know if it is now. I haven't checked the statistics or anything, but it wasn't a thing because they had so much fiber inside their diet. So I'm not talking about products like Metamucil and those types of things. I talk about real fiber from fruits and vegetables. Okay, and once again, those vegetables should be lightly blanched. All right, so watching out for constipation, watching out for stress, making sure that we get enough sleep. Okay, looking at our diet, it's really, really, really important. So what kind of things can we do in order to help us from getting hemorrhoids, or if we do have hemorrhoids, how to get rid of them once and for all? Well, the first one is to do the spleen sound or the spleen move. So the easiest way to do that one is to start off by pulling down the heavens one time. Inhale and exhale. Now we talked about this also in the prolapse video, so click on the link below to take a look at that. So once again, a prolapse is when the tissues or the organs fall out of place. In this case here, we're talking about the tissues that create the hemorrhoids, okay? And I guess I could make this into a whole nother subject or a whole nother topic, but also sometimes too, when we have to bear down too much from being constipated, which can create those hemorrhoids, we could also create something called a fissure. So a fissure is when we have a slight little tear in the rectum, and you normally will notice it, a person will notice it when they go to wipe. They may notice some bright red blood maybe in the water or on the toilet paper, being very graphic here, but that's what happens. Now, if this happens though, I really suggest that you go in and see your primary care physician. Generally speaking, if it's bright red, then it's normally a fissure, and that just means a little tear. But we want to make sure that there's no bleeding deeper in the intestine. So go see your primary care and make sure that nothing else is going on. Generally speaking, if there is blood, if we are bleeding internally or whatnot, then the blood will be darker. But once again, don't take these things lightly. Go and see your physician. Make sure that there's nothing else happening inside your colon or your intestines. All right, so I'm focused on worry. So guess what? Worry will create, and anxiety will contribute to hemorrhoids. So anything that creates anxiety for me, I'm going to allow for that to release. Allow for peace of mind and centeredness to come in. So you can do as many of these as you want, okay? Imagine a yellow or orange cloud filling up into the left side of the body where your spleen is located. Okay, then I'm going to come back to the middle. Finish by pulling down the heavens one time. Inhale. And exhale. Okay. Now the kidney exercise. So I talk about kidney yang. So the left side of your body is yang, the right side of the body is yin. But guess what? Your left kidney is yin, and then your right kidney is yang. So focusing first on the yang kidney, because once again, one of the contributing factors to hemorrhoids is actually kidney yang being deficient. So I'm going to focus. I'm going to exhale, bending at the waist. As I inhale, I'm going to imagine a blue cloud filling up into the kidneys. As I exhale, allow for fear and shock to leave the body like a dark cloud going several feet away from the body and down deep into the ground. Exhaling and inhale. So allow for the fear to leave, allow for willpower to come in. So really, you could actually do more of the kidney exercise on this right kidney. You could normally tell also if you have a kidney yang deficiency or weakness, because the tongue will be large and flabby. Normally tells us that the spleen yang is deficient too. But you might tend to run colder, or your hands or extremities may be colder. Maybe more pale. Maybe your blood is deficient too. These are some of the telltale signs. All right, and I'm going to come up and I'm going to switch. I'm going to do the right kidney, which is kidney yin. And the reason why we do kidney yin also is because yin and yang of the body, just like in all phenomena of life, seen and unseen, Yin and yang are interdependent, meaning that they cannot exist without the other. So we still want to nurture yin as well too. Okay, so come around. Allowing for willpower to come in. Let's do one more. And then I'm going to finish up here by pulling down the heavens one time. Inhale. And exhale. Okay, the healing sound for the spleen is who, so you can place your hands over the spleen if you want to. Now the spleen's a pretty good sized organ, about the size of a small grapefruit. You're going to inhale, imagine that orange or yellow cloud filling up into the spleen, and if there's any worry, any anxiety going on in your life right now, I want you to focus on that. And then as you exhale, inhaling. And again, inhale. And again. Allowing for peace of mind and centeredness to come in. And you also could do the sound underneath your breath. Inhale. Still feel that yellow cloud come in as you inhale. And then as you exhale, allow for that yellow cloud, or the dark cloud of the worry and the anxiety to leave out through the bottom of the feet, or out through the mouth as you exhale like a dark cloud. Going several feet away from the body and deep into the ground. Okay, and then we're going to pull down the heavens one time. Last Qigong practice that we could do here is massaging the yang organs. So also on our YouTube channel, so check out the 30 Days of Qigong. Also inside my book, Qigong for Self-Refinement, Tool to Health with the 5 Elements. So as I inhale, now working with the yang organs, which is your stomach, your intestines, your bladder, and your gallbladder. I'm just going to imagine golden light coming up, filling up into that abdominal cavity. Then as you exhale, allow for that to leave like a dark cloud, going several feet away from the body and down deep into the ground. So any toxicity, you have an upset stomach, or even if you have that worry or that anxiety, you have that gnawing pit in the stomach feeling, allow for that to release. You can actually walk into this practice too, very relaxing. So if you're out in nature, walking, just bring the hands up as you inhale, then as you exhale, allow for the toxicity to leave. So once again, you can do this as 2 to 5 minutes or 15, 20 minutes, whatever feels good for you. Okay, so I'm going to just finish off here by pulling down the heavens one time and exhale. Okay, the next remedy, now this is an ancient remedy that you could do in order to help to absorb the excess dampness from the tissues. It's a very simple thing to do. That is to make a potato suppository. Yes, I said a potato suppository. I'm not talking about a whole potato. I'm talking about a sliver of a potato. So you want to get yourself a white potato. It could be a russet, it doesn't matter. You want to peel it. You want to go ahead and cut a piece of that potato about maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches long at the most, and maybe about 1/4 of an inch in circumference, okay? And what you're going to do is that you're going to go ahead and insert that up into the rectum. And then what's going to happen is that the next time you have a bowel movement, what will happen is that actually that piece of the potato will come out. So that potato suppository will come out. And what will happen in the process of doing this, and this has worked for a lot of different clients of ours, is that it will start to absorb that excess dampness. Now, excess dampness, once again, comes from that spleen not functioning properly, eating the wrong foods, worrying too much wine, alcohol, pasta, carbs, those types of things. Too much sugar will also create this dampness. and also too, like I said, the kidney is not functioning properly. So what will happen with this potato suppository is that it will actually help to absorb some of that dampness, or a lot of that dampness, and then the hemorrhoids will disappear. It's a very simple practice to do. And once again, you do 1.5 inches, 2 inches, or just an inch. I know it sounds very odd, but it's an ancient remedy that's known to work. So go ahead and check it out. We'd like to hear your comment too. If you've had hemorrhoids, how this video has helped you. So please comment. Please share this with people that you know are suffering from chronic hemorrhoids, or somebody who just had a baby who has these painful hemorrhoids, and give some of these recipes or give some of these remedies. And once again, avoiding the sugar, avoiding the cold or raw, trying to avoid stress, trying to avoid constipation, getting enough sleep, not worrying too much, not being anxious too much. These are all very simple things you can do, and practicing these Qigong practices that we taught today, as well as the potato suppository technique that I was just talking about. So here we are, wrapping up another exciting video on the itch that nobody wants to talk about. I'm Chris Shelton, signing off from a beautiful day in Los Angeles, California, the heart of Hollywood. Until next time, we will cheat you later.